Hey, hey. Hey, glad to have you here on another Marketing Pulpit radio show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, trying to save our community. You know what? Folks have accused me of saving souls anyway. My dad was a Baptist minister. Man, he would get up in that pulpit every Sunday and hoop and holler. So I guess it kind of rubbed off on me. So don't hold it against me. My goal, though, my raison d'etre, my reason for being is to save businesses, build these strong businesses in our community, and putting people to work. Man, we need it like we never needed it before. I'm just glad to be in a position now that I can actually continue to fulfill my purpose of putting businesses on the map and putting our folks to work. We're in the middle of a crisis right now, and but the old saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, the goings are tough, folks. And from what I understand, we have some tough folks here. And so we're not going to give up. We're going to fight. We're going to, because our community depends on it. Our families depend on you strong, you being tough, and for you to keep going. This is not the time to quit, ladies and gentlemen. We're better than that. We're tough. We are a resilient community. We've endured slavery, Jim Crow, and all types of things that have come into our community. And we have endured them all. And we will endure this pandemic as well. So this show, we've been on there now for 10 years. As a matter of fact, we're celebrating 10 years. The show was started back in 2010, and it got its name, Marketing Pulpit, from my dear old dad. Well, it was named in his honor. He was a Baptist minister, and he was in the pulpit every year, every day, every Sunday. And so I was a little young guy. I used to follow him around, and he was in hospice as the show was being produced. As I was coming up with the concept of the show, my dad was in hospice, and so I was trying to find a way to honor him. And he passed away 10 years ago exactly on yesterday. So I want to say hello up there in heaven, Pop. Thanks again for giving me the inspiration. And even though I'm not, people ask me all the time, when are you going to join the ministry, Gatewood? Well, I'm joining the ministry of a different sort. And my ministry is to build businesses and to increase and sustain the economic viability of our community, because we have some challenges, but nothing that we can't overcome. So we have a great show lined up here today. If you want to find out more about the show, you can go to marketingpulpit.com. You can find out more about me. You can get information on our guests and our host. And every Friday, we bring a different lineup of co-hosts. Today, joining me is going to be Folasade. She's an accountant. She's a finance expert. And she's going to talk about some of the things you should be doing when it comes to your accounting during these tough times. Later in the show, I'm going to talk about why you should advertise even during a pandemic. I know some people are taking a break from business, from everything. They're thinking it's a vacation, but it's not. I repeat, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a vacation we're on. If anything, we should be working harder than ever before. So I'm going to talk about that also. I'm going to put this question out here as well. Some people are going to be getting a $1,200 or type of stimulus check coming up in a few weeks or months. And so the question I'm going to put to you, how are you going to use that check? I'm going to plant a little thought in your head, and you can think about that during the show. It's going to kind of give you some idea of where I'm going with this. Do you eat seeds? Do you cook the goose that's laying the eggs? Think about that again. If you're a farmer, a planter, somebody who's into agriculture, do you get really, really so hungry one day that you start to eat the seeds? I mean, you haven't eaten in weeks and days. Somebody put a big hand of grain and seeds in front of you. Do you eat those seeds? You got a goose over here, chicken, a duck that's laying these eggs. And you get so hungry one day, you go over there and throw that chicken in a pot. But that's what I want you to think about as we get into later into the show, as we talk about how do you plan to spend that stimulus money that you get? So I've already kind of let the cat out the bag as to where I'm leaning, but I want you to get my take on that coming up later in the show. As I stated earlier, we're going to have Folasade Day joining us. She's an accountant. She's going to tackle this thing from a financial and economic standpoint. She's been working with me for many years. She's one of the best, and I'm looking forward to bringing her on the show later on. Also, later in the show, we're going to have Kelsey Nicole. She's a sports broadcaster at Fox Sports, and she's going to talk about how this pandemic, how this COVID-19 is affecting sports. Is sports done as we know it? Is it going to come back as usual? Are we ever going to fill up an arena again? So we are talking about some new normal. So the sports, something that many of us it's so much a part of our lives. It's so much of our entertainment. So how is sports going to be affected? And in the future by this pandemic that we're experiencing in the present. So we're going to have her coming on soon to talk about that. So we have a great lineup, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to join the show. I want you to share this show because we've been bringing information that have found very valuable. And if you wonder who I am Gatewood. I'm Robert Gatewood. I'm an MBA. I also have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. We handle your advertising, marketing, branding, social media, graphic design, all of those. We're a full service advertising agency, and we've been at that for 25 years. So we kind of know what we're doing here. I've also written books, one called Played in Full, the marketing exploitation of Black America. I've also written another book called Smarter Than the Boss. I'm also a consultant for the Small Business Administration in the 8A program. And I'm also an adjunct professor at Georgia's Community College in Largo, Maryland, in the Washington, D.C. area. So I do know a bit about what I'm talking about here. But like I say, you don't have to take my word for it. If you know anybody who knows more about this, what I'm saying, folks, don't sit on the sidelines and let opportunity pass you by because of this pandemic. If you want to come out of this strong in the end, then I want you to tune in later in the show when I'm going to talk about even though it's a pandemic, even though we're dealing with COVID-19, the coronavirus, or whatever you call it, this is not the time to retreat. This is the time where we separate the weak from the chaff, the weak from the strong. The people who are in business because they have a purpose, a raison d'etre, and the ones who are doing it as a pastime, as a hobby, or just something to do. Because when this is over, somebody's going to be standing very strong and they're going to do very well. During this time, I also want to do a shout out and thank the people who are on the front line right now during this pandemic. We're talking about the people who are keeping this country moving, people who are keeping our community afloat, people like the transportation workers, the grocery store workers, the people in the restaurants and the fast food, the IT workers, the people who are keeping the internet going strong, pharmacies, doctors, nurses, and anyone who I may have missed. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Some of you out there because you feel it's your obligation, your duty. You owe it to the community. Some may be doing it just to get a paycheck. It's not for me to judge. All I can say, whatever the reason you're out there, thank you for keeping us going. I drove through the McDonald's drive-through this morning, got my cup of coffee. Of course, you're always nervous whenever you go anywhere now when you're dealing with the public. But I was watching those folks in that window. I saw emotion in their faces. I saw commitment. I saw a little fear. I saw a little gratitude that I was pulling up to the window. And so we have to, in our haste, in our hustle and bustle, we have to sometimes think and we have to stop and pause and give some thought to the people who are putting themselves on the line every day so that we can continue to have some sense of normalcy in our lives. So I want to thank you to them for being there. We owe you. We owe you. And I tell you what, the folks that are putting it out there now, you will get your reward when this is over. Like, hey, you like my cut here? This is called branding. We did a show a few weeks ago on branding. And so MPI, that stands for Marketing Pulpit International, because we are broadcast around the world. Um, we have listeners down in Nigeria and Nairobi, Kenya, and Monrovia, Liberia. And of course, we have our people here in Washington, D.C., Prince George's County, Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia. We have a large contingent down in North Carolina, where I'm from. So say hello to everybody down there. And of course, people at my college over at Livingstone say hello to you. And of course, people who, wherever you are, thank you for joining us. I'm going to talk about some news items. I'm also going to bring in my illustrious, amazing co-host. This young lady, I can't say enough about her. She's been around me. I'm telling you, boy, we're almost like a family now, because we've hung around each other so much. We have similar goals and ambitions. We have similar passion. And I'm telling you, I feel honored that I have had her to join me throughout the years as we have tackled this small business community. I've always hit it from the marketing and advertising and branding standpoint, and she has always kept me abreast on the financial and accounting side. So I want to welcome to the show today, Folasade. Good morning, Folasade.
Hey, Robert. Good morning. How are you?
So good to see your smiling face this morning. So good to see your smiling face. And I'm also want to say thank you. You're one of those frontline people that have been out in the midst of this struggle, and you have not let up one bit. I mean, if anything, you turned up the heat. You turned up the volume.
You know what, Robert? Like, especially now with what's happening with the coronavirus and stuff, we haven't had a choice but
Right.
to increase momentum and push it.
Well, I'm so glad you're pushing other people too, because for like today, what I've noticed that, and it's not, I'm not blaming anybody, but sometimes we go into a slumber. If you fall off your regular routine, you're not going to work, you're not getting in your car, and you're sitting around the house, and sometimes it's like, well, I'm here, I'll get back into my groove once this thing's over. But then you start picking up habits that might not be good for you afterwards. So you have to turn it up. That's why we had the well on here, Candace Camille. We've talked about how to keep your body straight. Next, we're going to have Weena Collins, our therapist. She's going to talk about keep the mind straight. Well, Falasha is going to tell us how to keep our money straight. So you definitely want to, this is the person you want to have. What are you going to talk about later on, Falasha Day?
Look, Robert, so I'm going to be talking about why small businesses need their accounting during tough times like this pandemic with this coronavirus. So, yeah, you need accounting.
You know, that's one of those things that people think, well, I'll go back to this accounting once this thing is over. Not. Just like I'm going to talk about later on, some folks are saying, I'm going to start advertising when this thing is over. That's not the answer. So, ladies and gentlemen, hang on. We're going to have that coming up in a few minutes. Matter of fact, I'm just going to quickly give you some update on on some news right quick. Now, what we're finding out is that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, has stated that 90% of the people who are hospitalized right now with this virus have at least one underlying condition. And they have said that based on the data collected for the last few weeks, the groups that are most susceptible, and let's check this out, elderly and Black people. And we don't need another something else that we at the bottom of the totem pole on. And this pandemic has hit the African American, the Black community particularly hard. Of the 16,000 or so people that have passed away, almost half of them have been African American. So people, you do have to take this seriously. This is no joke. Wash your hands, do your social distancing. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. Just quickly, a couple other things. Chicago's Cook County Jail, they have the largest known source of coronavirus infections, and 238 inmates and 115 staff members have come down with the virus. Yeah.
Wow.
Here's some news that's kind of tongue in cheek, not good news, but it's sort of. At one time, the White House and the Dr. Fauci expecting that we're going to have about 200,000 people in the United States to succumb to this disease, and now they've lowered that number to about 60,000. Now, 60,000 people is to be celebrating, but it's a lot better than 200,000, a quarter million. Here's some good news also. General Motors has jumped into the fight, and they're actually going to produce 30,000 ventilators as this is one of the first acts under this federal contract with the Defense Production Act. Los Angeles has ordered its citizens to wear a mask when going to essential businesses. So that's one of the first in the country. Mortgage forbearance has surged to 200,000%. I'm not 200,000, 2,000%. That's not a very good number. Now, 6.6 million more Americans have filed unemployment claims. That's up to about 13 million now. So people are really feeling the crunch here. Not everybody made rent last month, but this month we've seen the first come and go. Many people did not make rent, and that's to be expected. On some other good news, Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, has pledged $1 billion to fight the coronavirus. 1/4 of his actual wealth. Now that's what you call stepping up to the plate. Nobody needs $4 billion in the first place, if you ask me. I mean, I believe everybody should go out here and make as much money as they can. But if you got $1 billion, a few $1 billion sitting around, I think we should spread that around a little more.
Well, that's what you should be doing, because that's kind of why God didn't sold you so much. Honestly, that's what I feel like.
Well,
Man.
you're right. I mean, I know Bernie Sanders, one of the contenders who he just stepped out of the race, and Elizabeth Warren both had similar sentiments. Is that should we really have bears in the first place? Should we be spreading money to the workers, the people that are making you rich? Yeah, nobody's a billion times smarter than anybody else. It just doesn't work that way. So when I see people like Dorsey stepping up to the plate, then I say right on, and I'm glad. I wish more people would do it. Apple is jumping into the fight. They're going to start producing face shields. Now, folks, don't go out there and get one just because it has a little Apple logo on it. We know we would jump in a minute. But they do plan to create 20 million face masks and donate them globally. So people are starting to jump in and make their influences felt. Speaking of influences, there's a story in Vanity Fair that says the power of influencers are starting to wane due to the virus, because some of them have made some statements that were a little shaky, and they don't seem to be taken quite as seriously or adding making light of it. So a lot of people have been burned who are called themselves influencers, and some people are wondering, will the era of the influencers is that to an end? Quickly on a couple of more quick stories. What I'm going to do, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to let Folasade tell us. She's going to tell us why you should be doing accounting even when the times are tough. So hang on, this is Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. I have in the studio with me virtually Folasade, the accountability accountant, and this lady's good at what she does. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Also, support our sponsors who make this show possible. Saw an ad from 98.6 Band. They're relaunching after many years of being they kind of locked out of the industry because of a copyright issue. And also, our good friend from Haradox. Anything you need for natural hair, and I'm sure that's a good idea during these times. So let's support them as well. Folasade, now you're saying that people should be engaging in accounting. Now, people know now you can kind of understand why people might feel that at this particular time, they should be putting their energies elsewhere other than something like accounting. Why is that a bad? Why is that not a good way to think?
Oh, well, first of all, that mentality is actually what's going to prevent a lot of small businesses from getting funding today.
Oh,
Okay.
you done said it now.
Okay. So
You
we're going to
said
start off.
this could prevent them from getting the money they need.
Exactly. Exactly. And so the problem lies is when you go to submit any applications right now for any type of loans or economic funding that's not a grant, right?
Uh-huh. Right.
Okay, they ask you for some numbers. They ask you for some numbers. If you're applying for the PPP loan, they want your financial statements.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's what I've actually talked to a few people, and I was talking to a young man the other day, and I was asking him because you go to SBA.gov, got a big banner across the top, that big yellow banner. Click to apply for the loan.
Mhm.
And I said, why haven't you done it? And I could tell he was kind of hesitant to admit he hadn't done his books. He hadn't done his numbers. And some people are not saying it for larger day. You know, it's like you got something in the closet. It's like it's in the closet about it. I'm saying it's time to get out the closet if you want this money.
Robert, but that's what's happening to a lot of people right now. So the conversation is kind of going mute in our community, honestly, simply because we don't have the accounting paperwork that we need. So that mentality, that oh, I'm going to wait until things clear, or I'm going to wait until I make money to do my accounting. I'm going to wait until it rains to go outside, right? That mentality is why the African American small businesses rate of failure will be triple the amount of any other races, simply because we don't hire accountants when we're supposed to at the phase our business is needed, and we don't even do our accounting, and if we do it,
Philosophy,
it's not done sufficiently.
please tell me another statistic that's going to come out and say worse than everybody else. Can we put
Yeah.
an end to this? Come on.
See, the problem is though, Robert, like we're studied, but more so on a consumerism aspect. They don't really study our businesses the way. Now you can go and everybody can pull the same statistics. Oh, the average black business owner only make 50,000. Oh, those are general, but in terms of the actual failure rate, the data is not studied. Remember, you need people that want that data to help our community to invest the millions that's
Right.
required to get that. So that data specifically may not come out, but what you're going to notice is that their businesses are no longer being marketed online. You're going to also notice that individual is no longer personally online as well for a given period of time until we forget that they don't have that business anymore.
Mm.
And so right now, to just get money from any lender right now. So there are other programs, and I'm going to send them out to my email list. So if you're not part of my email list, you will not get the other lenders that are offering PPP loan, the PPP program, even if you're not banking with them. But with their requirements, oh my goodness, Robert, you need financial statements. You need 3 years. If you haven't been in business 3 years, you need whatever amount of years you've been in business. You need tax returns. You need everything. It's the works. So just imagine if that's your last source, or just imagine this is your last opportunity, like you need money in the next 15 to 20 days to survive.
Right.
Because of those scenarios, because we're not doing our accounting and figuring out the actual real numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are not going to be approved. And then also, in our community, even if we even have the accounting and the business is doing great, if you have a criminal history in terms of felonies and stuff, you're ineligible.
Hey, Philosophy, you know what I'm thinking? Because I keep hearing these stories and these real life examples of how people are making life changes during this pandemic, and many of them are for the better. And I'm thinking that one positive outcome of this is that people do start keeping up with their books because they're missing opportunities and money. So hopefully, I'm not gonna say I'm kind of probably getting ahead of myself here. But I've been listening to you and reading the tea leaves going forward. This hopefully this will be a positive outcome because some people are going to be forced just to get money to get their book straight.
Yeah, so Robert, I don't know if you've ever remember me mention that unforeseen circumstance is going to
Yeah,
make you need your bookkeeping.
you're
That
right.
unforeseen this is that. This is my moment that not to say I've been waiting for you guys, but this is that unforeseen circumstances. I told you guys, if you all been listening to us on the marketing pulpit for years, or if you've been watching me on social media, that unforeseen circumstances is what's going to make or break your company, and we're in it right now. And the businesses that have their accounting, Robert, they're going to go right and look at the numbers and see what clients have outstanding bills, to see what products and services aren't offering, to know how much money they have in their bank account, and know what their net is, what they're anticipating next month. They know what accounts are collectible or uncollectible. They have built relationships with their banks. So right now, even the banks, they're only giving money to the folks that they know. And I've been telling you guys for years to go knock on the door and say, hey, I'm here. I own this business. Come, I want to introduce myself to yourself, to you. So just in case I need funding, about my business. Here's my financial statement. I've been saying this for years, Robert.
Well, for today, I have been one who's listening to you, and even though, like I said, I haven't approached my bank has approached me
See?
because of the work you've done to keep my book straight. To make the there's certain things that I have over the years, and that's been one of the positive benefits of being associated with accountant is that you have kept me, you have educated me on the important. I mean, I've done accounting myself, but the fact that you're on top of things, you stay on top of the laws, you stay on top of the trends, and because of that, my banks have reached out to me and said these are some things that you should be doing. You could be doing right now if you need money. I'm sure they wouldn't have done that if my books were all jacked up.
Nope. Or you didn't have a relationship with them as
That's
well.
right.
So one thing it's all one sandwich. The accounting is one sandwich. You have to cut the slices equally. So you go meet with your banker, you give them your financial, and you update them regularly as well. But so this is that unforeseen circumstance, Robert. So that's a few reasons why you need your accounting, but you also need it most importantly to dig yourself out of the situation. The businesses that can show the numbers and to show the bank that they have a valuable business, okay, are going to win. All of the people that wanted to save as much money on their taxes illegally and claim stuff that they wasn't supposed to do and claim deductions that they shouldn't, Robert, are going to be doomed right now because their businesses are going to be seen as unable to repay the loan. So they're not going to approve their applications. So it's just so many different layers of this whole situation that is called.
Mhm.
There are so many situations right now that our lack of accountability in the previous years, our lack of discipline, our lack of structure, our lack of accounting, and so many different layers is what's going to stomp us today.
And that is why I'm going to ask people, and I know, Flossie, you got to run because I know you got an appointment, you say, but that's why people need to reach out to Flossie. Start the conversation. Let her guide you. Follow her. If you can't afford the service, then at least follow her. Follow her podcast. She has a show. Go to her website, get her information. Flossie, let people know how to reach you, please.
Okay, so first of all, you guys can tune in each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rip Radio Network for my show, The Money Zone. But you can also give my office a call if you're interested in possibly working with us at 202-618-1297. If you're watching us on social media, you can just go right to my bio and click the link and get on my calendar.
Flossie, you are a treasure. I'm so glad to have you joining us every second Friday of the month. And we will be back over at Radio One coming up in the hopefully next month. We'll be given the green light to go back into the studio at Radio One. But right now we're enjoying this platform. And so the marketing pulpit goes on, folks. It's marketing pulpit is not about a platform. It's about this mission of building businesses, putting people to work. being successfully empowering our community. And Folasade, you're on the front line. You're a general in this army, and I appreciate you very much.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank you,
Folasade.
Robert. Thank you so much for having me. You have an amazing show, okay? Bye, guys.
Thank you very much. All right, folks. That's Folasade. She joins me the second Friday of every month. We have a great lineup here on the Marketing Pulpit, by the way. We have on the first Friday, of course, we have Miss Bernadette Clay over from the BLE Executive Suite, and they have a great service over there. Of course, the second Friday, we have Folasade. On the third Friday, we have Weena with the big fan club down in the Carolinas. Then on the fourth Friday, we have the wellologist, Candace Camille, and glad to have. So we have a great lineup here, folks. In a minute, we're going to be bringing on Nicole Nelson. I've been wondering, I don't know if you guys have been wondering, I've been wondering what's happening out here in the sports world. Are we going to ever have basketball again? Are people ever fill up a stadium again? What's going on with these contracts? What are people, is that changed? Are these dynamics being changed while this pandemic is going on? So we're gonna have that in a moment. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna bring on the line Kelsey, Nicole Nelson, and also I'm gonna talk about why you advertise even during a pandemic. So hang on a second, folks. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, and we're gonna be right back after the break. All right, we're back here. This is the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. You can find out more about me and my company by going to gatewoodmarketing.com, where we've been very busy actually during this pandemic. Many companies have contacted us to help get their online presence up to date. Some people couldn't take money online, some couldn't communicate online through forms and so forth. So we've been very busy helping people bridge that gap, because business must go on. And so my company, we also, besides being a marketing company, we're also a web technology company. It's been quite busy. So if you need some help getting your systems online, your training, your workshops, your services, get those forms so people can communicate with you. If you need some information on how to use Zoom and some of these other technologies out here, give us a call, 301-839-2036, or just go to gatewoodmarketing.com, and we'll set up a free consultation to bring you up to date on that. I'll bring up my guest, Miss Nelson, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Kelsey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here.
I am so glad to have you, Kelsey. You've been on the show. She's no stranger to many folks. She has her own little fan club out there. I know a few people down in Carolina have about, when is Kelsey coming back on the show? So glad to have you back. Glad to have you back on the show. And but you know, Kelsey, a lot of folks are sitting around wondering, is sports ever going to be the same again? Is it? What help us out here, because I'm sure people are wondering what the heck is going on in the sports world. Bring us up to date.
It's so crazy. It's like the biggest question everyone's asking, because like you said, I think we've been spoiled. We're so used to coming home and cutting on ESPN or any other sports network, and something's on, right? It's always been something on. Or you go down the street and you go to a high school basketball game. Maybe you go down to your college and watch a softball game. Like, so we've all been spoiled and inundated, with sports. And then all of a sudden, like that, it's taken away from us. And now, I mean, we're just thinking of sports topics to talk about, and it's all related to COVID-19. And I think, honestly, once something happens, I don't think everything will go back to being the same. I think we're all going to look through sports at a different lens now. And I think, luckily, everything's going to be, hopefully, a lot cleaner. I think the medical field now we're going to look to more for sports to make sure that this doesn't happen again, because we see the implications it's having. I mean, this is a money show. We talk about money. Money is the bottom line in sports, Robert, right? It's a business. And I think the bottom line we're seeing executives have to take, get their salaries reduced to help support other offsetting costs during this time. We're seeing just so many different things happen in sports. So no, Robert, that's the simple answer. We're not going to see sports the same. I mean, college athletes, spring sports canceled, right? So now we have another year of eligibility. So now if I'm a high school senior or I'm a high school junior and I'm thinking about what school to go to, maybe that senior that I thought was leaving, guess what? They're coming back because they didn't have a spring sports season. So maybe that affects my decision if I go to that school.
I never thought about that. Yeah. A lot of decisions were being made time of year.
Yeah.
And now those decisions are being postponed, put off.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's so many questions, Robert, up in sports. And really, if we think about it, I think when it hit the sports world was really when COVID-19 became real for us all. I think when we had all heard about it in other countries, it was scary, but it didn't hit us as hard, right? And then again, we heard about it coming to the US. We heard about the things with the cruise ship and people getting trapped. And I think we all felt bad. But when we saw that the NBA indefinitely postponed the season, when I say my group chat and every text was lighting up, I think that's when it was like, wow, this is real.
It became real to Main Street. Yeah. When you can't see your favorite basketball players out there running up and down the court. That's when people really start to sit back and take and say, wait a minute, this thing is real.
Exactly.
Now, what about this is I'm not sure if you would if you dug this deep down into it, but you think this is going to affect salaries going forward? As for some of these big numbers they've been throwing out at basketball and football players, you think this will have any impact on that?
You know, it's interesting, and I think that's a question everyone's asking, but I think you have to remember, I think it's a question now that's happening, because if you remember, a lot of the money from sports league comes from your TV rights broadcast, right? It comes from who's broadcasting your game. So yes, they make money from attendance sales and stuff like that, but that really more so helps to pay your in-stadium staff, your in-stadium people. But when it comes to contracts, I think we will still see them. I mean, sports continue to grow. We continue to see a new player each and every season break that contract mark. But I think now we'll just look at it differently, how we structure that that contract and where that money's coming from, if anything. And I think that's the question kind of now being asked.
Do you think that, just give you from your wisdom, do you think that they will start back off with the full stadiums, or will they probably start back out with the no fans in the stadium and then grow to them? Because I know initially they were thinking about doing the game without the fans in the stadium. And now that you mention it, because I was at one time wondering how can they make money, but like you said, that's only one of the income streams. They're making big money by the broadcast.
Right. And that's why sometimes you'll see NBA owners, if their stadiums aren't the fullest, I mean, of course, they want them to be fuller, right? You want your arenas to be full, but sometimes they're not always going to be worried about that, because they're still getting money in from many other ways. I mean, there's merchandise sales. There's so much, right, that makes a sports contract. And I think your question is great. And honestly, I think it depends when things get back to normal, because I mean, the NFL, they're still holding on that the season can start late August, early September, right? And best believe, because of their stuff that they're seeing and money that they're losing, right? We see the NFL draft is going virtual. You can't tell me they're not going to want to pack it. And guess what, Robert? We're all going to be running to become season ticket holders, get individual tickets, because we miss sports. So if they tried to do a stacked opening, I think it would be too difficult and too hard. But I think if anything, we'll just see, we'll see a lot of like their janitorial services and things like that. I think a lot more emphasis will be placed on how clean these stadiums and arenas are. Because I think often we don't think about it, right? You sit in the NBA seat, you don't think about how, if it's clean, unless you see like popcorn spilled on it or anything. You might get a drink, you're touching everything, you're touching your face. But now I think we're going to just be a lot more cautious of what we're doing in case something like this comes back around, since they are talking about a potential second wave coming in October, which is really in the heart of sports season here in the USA.
Wow, because I was thinking, and this might get a little personal, but how's it affecting people like you? Because you're one of those people that are on the front line, and it has a direct impact on all of the broadcasters that are out here that are doing sports. I mean, what's going on in people like your world?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, I think we're seeing different ranges of it. So unfortunately, the media had been having layoffs even before COVID-19. So I'm not just going to relate it to COVID-19, but I think COVID-19 also helped to push and propel that. So unfortunately, we're seeing people losing jobs. And then for people like me, where we can't be in studios, right? I can't be on the sidelines, because guess what? It's not happening.
No sidelines.
No sidelines. We've had to find innovative ways. So now, much like me and you are doing, we see journalists trying to, still create stories. We're looking more for those feature type of stories. If you're an NBA player, what are you doing? Are you playing NBA 2K? I mean, are you going outside? What exactly are you doing to still stay active and still stay in shape? Because what will happen when the season comes back, you need to be ready to go, right? Because we just don't know what's going to happen. But, this is not a time for you just to sit on the couch and get a beer belly, right? If I'm a top athlete, I still need to be at the top of my game. And I think that's what we're seeing.
And that's why actually I wanted to bring you on, because I think like my previous guest, Folasade, myself, and yourself, we have to set examples. We have to bring out people who are demonstrating that this is not a time to go to sleep.
Right.
This is not a vacation, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
If anything, it's the exact opposite. We should be working harder now than ever before. One, to maintain our sanity, our income, our health. But when this thing is over, we have to be ready to jump in, and we can't become lethargic and let atrophy set in. And so when it's time, just like an athlete, I mean, that's a good parallel. An athlete doesn't go to on the off season; he has to be working. He has to be working at all times. So when it's time to get on back on the field, they have to be ready. When you agree.
Completely agree. I mean, one of my favorite quotes, this is the time on, not a time off. And I think as an athlete, it's a job. So much like us, I mean, I think sometimes we think, oh, in the off season, they're doing this and that. Yes, they're having fun, but also they still have to remain at the top of their game. Because guess what? In every sport, you have something called a draft coming up, and you have people that are coming for your position. And each year, what are we doing, Robert? We're getting older. And in sports, that's usually not a good thing unless you're Tom Brady, and it just seems like nothing can stop you. So you always have to be on the top of your game.
Speaking of Tom Brady, is he actually going to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I can't believe it, but it's happening.
I can't see him. What they maroon and gold, whatever the color. I can't see him in anything other than blue and silver, whatever that color were.
It's crazy, but yeah, no more Gillette. Well, no more Gillette Stadium. Now he's headed down to sunny Tampa, and I think this is great for the NFL because, of course, I mean, the Patriots have a lot of haters, quite frankly, right? Because they've built a dynasty of winning. But guess what? Now it's not a gold thing. It's not a golden thing. You can't automatically put them in your Super Bowl bid because now Tom Brady's gone and he was really a leader of that team. And yes, they have a great coach in Bill Belichick, but Tom Brady makes a lot of teams better. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with the weapons he has, I'm excited for NFL season. Should we start as regularly scheduled?
Well, hang on a second there, Kelsey. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We're going to jump on some more topics. I'd like you to hang around and give me your commentary. We're going to talk about why you must advertise like never before during a pandemic, and the three personality types who will get stimulus checks. So you don't want to hang around, and we'll be right back after the break. Folks, you're listening to The Marketing Pulpit. You're viewing us here on MPI TV. I have my amazing host, guest, Miss. I want to call her a co-host because we actually do the co-hosting over the Minor Football Group together.
Yes.
We actually work together as well, and I'm just proud to have her today on MPI, the Marketing Pulpit International Show. So hang on there. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after. All righty. We are back, and I want to thank everybody tuning in on Facebook Live. I'm seeing all of these comments, folks. If I don't get to you, if I don't call you out, then I just want to say that there's so many people tuning in this morning. Just going to quickly, some of the folks, Brother Brown, hello, Mr. Miles, Brother Mitchell, my frat brother from Livingstone, Janet Smith down in Carolina. We see Colleen, we see, we see, we got a Brother Keith, we got a large contingent of folks tuning in on Facebook. So I want to thank you guys. We're also broadcasting live on YouTube, and we're on Periscope TV. So this message is getting out there, folks. The Marketing Pulpit. I'm actually honored, flattered, and humbled by the commitment and devotion and loyalty of people who supported the show over the past 10 years. And we did reach a milestone this week. Like I said, the show was named in honor of my dad, Reverend Dr. W.H. Gatewood, who passed away exactly 10 years ago yesterday. Wow. And so he was the motivation behind the show. And of course, people say, Robert, when are you going to become a minister? Well, I'm a minister of marketing and business development. So I am a minister indeed. So I want to thank everybody who supported the show over the years. I'm going to get back to you there in a minute, Kelsey. But I did one thing that we have been hearing a lot of talk about coming up is that this stimulus check is coming out. Everybody's saying there's going to be a $1,200 check. Many other people have also gone to the SBO and filled out paperwork to apply for a loan there. But I'm gonna throw a little controversy in here. I'm gonna stir things up a little bit as I've been known to do.
All
Now I'm
right.
gonna put there's like three types of people that's looking to get this check. And you can go look in the mirror and do a little soul searching and ask yourself, which one of these three categories do you fall in? Now the first group is people who they have been paralyzed since this thing started. They can't see beyond this tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
This crisis has them on lockdown, literally, physically, mentally, and every other level. And they are looking at the mailbox every day, waiting for that check. And when it comes in, they already got plans on how they're going to spend it. That's the first group. The second group, they're waiting for the check, but they have plans for it. They do plan to invest it back in the business. They do plan to do some things that might turn it into more revenue, but they're waiting for it. I ain't mad at them for that. But then there's a third group. There's a third group that says, check be damned, I got to keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
If that check never comes, as much as I might need it, as empty as my pockets may be, as hard as times are, I have to keep moving. If that check comes, good. I will take it. I'll be happy. I'll be the first one to deposit it. But I'm not sitting here waiting for a daggone check from Uncle Sam. Now, I'm not mad at anybody in any group because there are some people out here in that first group who are genuinely hurting. And it does something to your psychology, to your mentality when you have a hard time paying your bills and putting food on your table. We had some ladies on the show the other day. One of the guests had 3 teenagers at home. Now, of course, she was gainfully employed, but I can only imagine how hard that is to have 3 teenagers at home drinking, eating, and your income has dried up. So if that check comes in, if you run out and spend it on food and shelter, I'm not mad at you. But I would say this. If you fall somewhere in between all of these, think about, this is the quote I started the show with. If you're a farmer and you're starving and somebody drops a bag of seed in front of you, I don't care how hungry you are, you cannot eat the seeds.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a hen out in the barn laying eggs, I don't care how hard times get, you must feed that hen and not eat it. You don't eat the hen that's laying the eggs. You nurture it, you feed it. Just like a plant in the ground. You nurture it, you make it grow so it can bear some fruit. So I'm asking people, I know these are tough times. Resources are meager. We don't know if there's going to be another check. But somebody asked me this the other day. They said, Robert, if you had only $500, this is your last $500 in the world, what would you do with it? And I've said this, I've never wavered. I would invest it and try to figure out how to make more. Now, of course, I might peel a few bills off the top. I got to eat. I got a family, okay? But we should always, as a community, ladies and gentlemen, be looking forward. Whatever resources we have, whether it's $10, whether it's 10,000 or 10 million, we've got to take some of that money and turn it into more money. So, as you anticipate this check, I'm not going to tell you where you fall in this triad I just put out there, and I'm not going to judge. I can only give you advice. And some people say, "Gate, who the heck died and made you king?" Well, nobody. But I've seen so many cycles. I'm probably older than I look to many of you all. Okay, so I do look old too. Okay, all right, I saw that. My point is, folks, we've been here. We've been down this road too many times. It's time for us to start thinking long term. So we get money, we get opportunity. Let's try to build so that the next generation, so that the family can continue to eat. Mm-hmm. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now, let's get back to I know, folks, I have to get on my soapbox every now and then. because I've in the line of work that I'm in, Kelsey,
Mm-hmm.
I see every type of industry. I
Right.
see athletes, I see entertainers, I see small business owners, I see government workers, I see people who are doing this as a part-time hustle. I see
Right.
people doing this and their livelihoods it depend on it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I've learned not to be is judgmental.
Right.
All I can do is recount my experience, try to share and bring on people like yourself. And your story really, I hadn't even given it any thought until the question came up. People like yourself are being affected by this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always thinking that people like people behind the mics and the that we see on TV every day, they disappear, but where did they go?
Right. Right.
And that's why I need people like you in this army that keep us motivated, that
Yeah.
keep people say it's going to be okay. We have to stay on top of our game even during this pandemic.
Right.
What do you say about that, Kel?
I think it's so real. And for someone that is a freelancer, and I'm a person that's never had one job, Robert, I know you know this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And even now, I just think about the strength I have to take. So something I started this year, I'm a college professor now. So I have students that, thank you. I have students that rely on me, and they're facing a lot of uncertainty in their lives, right? With what's going to be next. Is there going to be a graduation? Will they still have food? If they're going back home, will their families be able to support them? A lot of people aren't talking about this too, but youth employment is a huge issue right now. Because if we think about a lot of youth and younger people, they're in those retail service type of jobs, and that's the industry that's being hit the hardest right now. And like you said, for someone like me, I think people think sometimes they look at the screen and they think we're invincible. Robert, we're humans just like everyone else. We face the same difficulties as everyone else. And our companies are still also trying to figure out what's next. And unfortunately, that does sometimes mean that you might not see that person come back. I think, if anything, we're all looking at the structure, and this has all taught us, how can we financially sustain ourselves, right? And that does not mean after this pandemic that everything will come back. I just thought about it. I don't know if you saw this, but AMC, the movie theater, they're about to file bankruptcy, right?
Oh.
And you think about the movie industry, I was like, oh, that's right. Because we're not going to movies. Why release a movie right now? Who's going to go see it in theater? It's just like so many of these things that we thought were just everyday things, that we thought were just constants, are now no longer. And I think we're just going to continue to see this pattern. Unemployment, 16 million people, they're broadcasters in that. And there's everybody else in that. There's people behind the scenes. Even on camera, think about everyone that helps make that show go. When you're watching your favorite show, it's not just the people you see at the desk. They're really the minority. There's so many more behind the scenes that are making things happen. All of us are being affected. Your family, your kids. If you have kids right now and you're trying to do something like this, I've seen so many Zoom calls, Robert, where, kids have jumped in and then, they're hungry, or anybody, it's like so many of our daily lives, we don't usually get to see that, right? Because when you're at work and you have like your work life. But now I think, if anything, we've been getting to see more personal lives and family lives. And also, maybe didn't realize how much that connection mattered. I've talked to more people now, Robert, through Zoom calls and on phone calls, I think, than ever before. Because I think now, too, we're all starting to think about our mental health. Are we keeping healthy? What are we all doing? Are you still going outside? Have you found a way to exercise inside safely? What are you doing mentally? Are you okay? If you're by yourself, are you okay living by yourself? Are you okay not having as many people to talk to? So it's just so many different things happening. And I think, like you said it, again, we're all human, we're all invincible. And I think that's why now more than ever, we just have to rely on each other. Check on your friends, check on your family members, check on your coworkers. Really right now, we have to make sure everyone is okay, because this is the first time for all of us. We're all experiencing this together, and there is no right way. But I think now more than ever, it's just a time for us to hopefully all come together.
Well, you, like I said, I've known you for a few years now, and
now you're aging me, Robert.
no, that's what I'm saying. You're so wise beyond your years. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah.
I like this. I like surrounding myself with people who are wise, people who can set examples, people who are compassionate. If there is a common thread that goes through people who are affiliated with the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show, you would notice that there's some commonalities: compassion, wise, more concerned about, as much concerned about others as about themselves, and there's a selflessness, ready to put yourself on the line for the betterment of our community. And you fit that mold, and I'm glad you and the MFL and what you're doing over at your the Fox Sports, And you did say something. You said you're a professor. Are you doing? Are you actually doing the courses now?
Yeah, so the funny thing is, the college I teach at is Doral College, and they're actually based in Miami. So I had already been online
Okay.
teaching, but it's great because the students I'm teaching, and I'm pretty sure you know this, but they run the only high school student run Slam Radio, only high school student run radio station in the entire country. So you have high school students taking college level courses. So the hardest thing that we've had to do is adjust to getting them now, much like you're doing, taping shows from home now, and it's been hard for them, and it's crazy. I just saw them at Super Bowl on Radio Row. So if anything, my co-professor now, he's having to teach online like me, and of course, it's just a whole different dynamic when you're trying to keep a class entertained just purely through online, and there's so many distractions. But it's been, I mean, the students have worked hard, and they've been great, and I'm lucky. I mean, I'm getting to teach the next crop of sports journalists, so I'm trying to get all my good stuff in before they come and take my job, Robert.
Well, I tell you, when you come out of this, like many of you, we're going to come out of this stronger. Now, quickly, I'm going to just mention why, even though some people are struggling, their businesses are not sure where their check is going to come, there are some things you have to continue to do if you plan to be a viable business when this is over. And one of those things is you must continue to advertise. Now, the thing about advertising, we think advertising, sometimes we think that means calling up a radio station, calling the TV station. But as I've always said, there's two types of advertising. Mm-hmm. There's the communication type of advertising where you're not actually doing a hard sell. That's just keeping your name in front of people. That's branding, nurturing. Right. And so from a marketing standpoint, you should be doing that right now. Right. Yes, we need to be asking for sales when occasion arises. But advertising at this particular point, I've talked about the industry life cycle last week, but we talk about doing when there's like a flat line that you should be nurturing, branding, staying in touch with people, communicating. That is indeed advertising, reaching out to people, letting folks that you're still in business. You're not going out of business. I came into the building today. Of course, I was wearing my mask and my gear and everything, but I ran into a lady in the hall. She said, "Are you all open?" I said, "Yes." And she wanted to come in here for a meeting. I said, "Well, we're not that kind of open, but we are open for business." So I need to let people know that we are open. That is called advertising. Mm-hmm. There's different types of advertising. So you don't stop doing that because there's a pandemic, because you want to stay at the top of mind for consumers. So when the pandemic is over, they're going to think about the companies that stayed in front of them during the pandemic. Right. If you disappear, go into oblivion, they may think you went out of business. You don't want them to do that. You may want to be repositioning yourself after this over, because some people are starting new services that didn't exist before the pandemic. You need to be letting people know how you pivoted, how you have recalculated, how you have recalibrated. They won't know that if you don't tell them. So yes, let's get on that social media. Let's update that website. Let's get a guy. Let's advertise on the Marketing Pulpit radio show. You see these ads that we've been running today. Many of those are people that contacted us since this pandemic has started and say, look, we want to keep our name in front of the public, and we have an affordable platform that would allow them to do that. You want to project an image of stability during this time. Yes, times are tough, money is tight, but think about that seed I was telling you about earlier. You got to keep planting that seed. You got to keep fattening that hen so it can keep laying eggs. You don't eat the hen during this. You got to feed that hen. That's your business.
Yep.
Okay. And the last thing that you should be aware of during this time is that during times like these, advertising costs and rates actually go down. Mm-hmm. You're going to get bargains like you've never had before. You may be the only person out there advertising because you were the only one that took the initiative to go out and find these phenomenal rates. I'm just going to say this. You call in advertising, including the Marketing Pulpit, and we have our information running across the bottom of the screen. If you call any group, including the Marketing Pulpit, they're going to give you a deal like you've never seen before. So let's just say you're listening, you're under the sound of my voice, you have a company, and you're saying, God, I need to keep things moving. Mm-hmm. Contact Gatewood. Contact the Marketing Pulpit. Send me an email, Robert at Marketing Pulpit. You can call me at 301-839-2836. and I'm going to give you some information I probably shouldn't give you. I don't care what price I give you. Say Gatewood, I want a discount. I want a price better than that. Of course, I'm going to give you a little pushback. So look, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about that other person. But you can do that with any advertiser right now.
Yeah.
So take some of that money that you have left. Take some of that money that's coming in. I'm only saying this for business owners or people who plan to start a business. Rechannel some of that money so you can make some more money.
Yep.
It may mean doing business differently. You might not be able to go out here and dig ditches or stand on the sports sideline like Kelsey is saying, but there's other things, there's other skills that you have. Start a blog, start a podcast, go back and tighten up your website, start engaging in social media, start checking on folks,
right.
Open up that big heart of yours. Take some of that money and help somebody else even. That's planting a seed. So no, this is not the time to become a shrinking violet. This is the time to put yourself out there bigger and better than ever before. And I just want to thank the people that make this show possible. People like Kelsey Nicole Nelson, people like Folasade, people like the wellologist Candace Camille, people like Weena Cullins, the therapist, and all the people that come on this show. BLE Executive Suites, our sponsor, who stood by us for 10 years.
Wow.
They are business owners. I know people see them, and this is something else, Kelsey, that this is my closing thought. I know sometimes I heard somebody say that we should, because of this COVID, because of this coronavirus, everybody should just stop paying everything. We shouldn't pay car notes. We shouldn't pay rent because, but that does not take into account that many of those folks that you are paying are people like us.
Right.
People like BLE. People like Gatewood Marketing. Right. We have a very big web service where people are paying domain and hosting services. If you stop paying them, then you stop paying me.
Right.
Stop paying my workers. So we have to kind of balance that mindset between consumerism and businesses.
Right.
And all the way down the line.
Right.
Think about the supply chain. I had a hair salon call me the other day. This guy is a very well hairstylist in the DC area. He's done hair for Condoleezza Rice, for Valerie Jarrett. He's done major hair. And he called me the other day. He had asked me to put a link on his website because, like I said, a lot of folks have contacted me to get their website up to date.
Right.
And I'm just kind of talking like, businessman to businessman. I'm saying I'm doing all right. Maybe he's probably doing all right too. Then I said, hey, how's things going? He said, man, we got a business. We don't have. He said, we're hair.
Yeah.
There's nothing coming in. Man, I froze in my tracks.
Yeah.
And I sent him a note right after. I said, look, man, don't worry about it. This is on the house. Whatever you asked me to do.
Yeah.
This is on the house. Okay.
Wonderful.
I can't do that for everybody, but I'm telling you, let's, as a community, ladies and gentlemen, do what we can. You will get it back. I don't care what your faith is. Every religion I know say that if we help those who are less fortunate.
Right.
I was listening to the Neely Fuller the other day. He's one of my clients. He said, in a system of justice, the help goes to those that need it the most.
Yep.
That's a simple concept, but it's so true.
Right. It's true. I'm one of those people that believe, we're only as good as the people we help. When you've been blessed, it's your job and duty to give a blessing unto others. I mean, that's what I've always lived by. That's what I want my legacy to be. I mean, as much as I love sports reporting and things like that, I love most teaching. I love most mentoring, just giving back, because that's what it's all about. And I know how many people poured into me to be where I am. So I am nothing without them. And I just want to help others. So that's true. And now more than ever, we all just need to rely on just human compassion and just help out one another and care for each other.
Well, I can say without fear of contradiction, Kelsey, that the reason you are doing so well at such a young age is because of your approach to life. There are a lot of young people at your age who are really about themselves, and they just never got they just haven't studied people like yourself and see that there's another way to do it. And I'm hopeful by bringing people like you on the show today that some young person, some old person, some whatever age person will see that there is another way, that we do have to step outside of ourselves and realize it's not always about us.
Right.
I don't have a deep pocket, but I'm willing to share information, services. And I said, yes, call me. I'm going to give you a deal. I want your business to succeed. Please let me help you make that business a success after this pandemic is over.
Yeah.
So, Kelsey, if somebody wanted to find out more about you and what you're doing, please feel free to share.
Yeah, sure. So you can go to my website, kelseynicolenelson.com. I have all of my latest updates there. I'm really excited. I'm launching an all-new sports TV show, The Sports Sound of the District and Beyond. So check that out. Yeah, so I just dropped the promo for that. Definitely check that out. I have my podcast, Listen In with K&N, on Fox Sports Radio. And then also you can catch me on the radio with the Minor Football League with Robert each and every week on Inside the NFL, social media at The Real K Nelson. Connect with me, talk sports, talk anything. I love connecting.
Well, you are an expert at what you do. Once again, I'm just proud to have you to join us today, and we will have you back. I have no doubt about that. And folks, I'm going to wrap this thing up, and I just want to say once again, thank you for the frontline workers. Thank you to the business owners who for many years have put our people to work. Let's support each other. If you know a business that's struggling, go ahead and prepay for services if you can afford to. Yep. That's been my suggestion for people who ask how can they help somebody in need. If you know a business owner and you believe in your heart that you're going to need their services, or even not, and you believe that we're going to survive this, go ahead and pay for that lawn service. Go ahead and pay for that graphic designer. Go ahead and pay for that hairstylist. If you can afford to, help them get through this. And they would take care of you on the other end.
Right.
And it's going to go well beyond that one hair appointment. They're going to remember you forever.
Yep.
So that's what I'm practicing right now. Folks ask me, how can I help? What am I doing to help? Anybody that I've normally done business with, if they're not doing business right now, but I know I'm going to use their service in the future, I'm going to go ahead and prepay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it till I run out of money. Then I'm going to take that seed and plant it. Before I spend my last dollar, I'm going to plant it to make sure it turns into some more. Folks, you've been listening to the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. I want to thank Folasade for joining me earlier. She's find her. Also go to marketingpulpit.com. You can find out more about all of our guests, all of our co-hosts, our sponsors, and what we've been doing for the last few years. Also, you can find this show later on Facebook Live. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Periscope TV. And if you want to go to one central location to find it all, just go to marketingpulpit.com, and that's the hub. I want to thank you again, Kelsey. Thank you again. You've been an amazing guest today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you very much. And folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. And as I always say, if you want to be successful, you got to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you got to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.